Well, it's harvest time, it's autumn, the leaves are falling, and the tap handles are changing. Away from the summer beers and into the autumn beers, your Marzens, your pumpkin beers. We're gonna cover it all on this very special fall installment of Brewed. We're at the Rock Island Brewing Company in the district of Rock Island, a place that doesn't do any brewing of their own. However, I'll have you know, Ribco has been a place that craft beer lovers in this town have been coming to for decades. Before craft beer was cool, they were doing craft beer here at Ribco, and here is the owner and proprietor, Terry Tucker, the man behind Ribco. Is that safe to say? I'm great, man. I'm great.
Thank you.
So Ribco, Rock Island Brewing Company, and I know you've been dealing with this for years.
Yep.
People have been asking, what do you make here? What are the beers? Explain the name Ribco.
Well, there was a brewery here at one time.
At one time.
And the original builder found the name, found the history. He was originally from Chicago. And him and his brother and a few of his friends built the bar. They had done the history on Rock Island, found out there was a brewery here, and they took the name.
So the Rock Island Brewing Company doesn't brew any beer, but if you are a beer lover, it's a place you have to come. And most of you know this, most of you probably had your first couple of imports here at Ribco. I mean, that's safe to say. If we're taking a survey, most of you would say probably the first time you ventured into that world was behind these doors. Sure. Safe to say?
Oh, very safe to say. Everything in those days was imports, microbrews,
right?
And then the names all switched and started becoming craft beers.
So did people tell you you were nuts when you were going away from, because obviously you can get any beer you want here. You've got domestics. You're not, it's not one of those snooty bars where they only give you the fancy schmancy beers. But when you kept expanding the menu and getting in stuff, because at Ribco you guys get stuff that no one else can get.
We special order a lot of things. It wasn't so much myself, it was some of the employees. They were in the sours and different craft beers and bourbon age before I even knew what they were.
Right.
And they would come to me and tell me these, oh, we're getting this, we're getting that. I actually didn't do the ordering at the time, and they're the ones that started it all. They were way ahead of me.
Well, I guess it's easier to be more experimental with the ordering when it's not your bank account. But it all worked out great, right?
I was busy booking bands.
There you go. You're working on the bands, they're getting the beer.
There you go.
So the Rock Island Brewing Company is home to a lot of great different events throughout the course of the year. We are here covering, and I'm going to say this slowly, the Batch from the Patch. Now explain the concept here, because this is bananas.
Again, my employees come up with some of the most colorful things in the world. Anywhere from musical events to drink specials, and with the internet and everything else, one of them ran across something on the internet several years ago about serving beer and pumpkins. When they approached me about it, I told them they were all crazy and we weren't doing it, and they all laughed and said, oh, we've already ordered 200 pumpkins.
Now, pumpkin beer is something that you start to see on the store shelves, and it starts to creep into tap handles all over town in like late August and September. You guys kind of have the philosophy here that to hold it and to serve it in mid to late October when it makes a little bit more sense. And you kind of hoard really select beers, pumpkin beers, just for this event.
We do. We pre-order them in the middle of summer, and if you don't pre-order, you're not going to get them.
Right.
And that's something new in this industry where you never used to pre-order beer. The distributor had their 12 or 15 brands. Now distributors have 80 to 100 brands.
So now you've got people inside there drinking pumpkin beer out of a pumpkin.
Real pumpkin.
Does the pumpkin, and now I have to imagine that's a nightmare to get together.
I have blisters on my hands from carving them.
Right.
It's horrible.
Right, so you're in there with a Sawzall making it happen.
Sawzall and a lot of employees and a lot of spoons and knives.
How long does that take to pumpkin up the place?
10, 12 employees, a good 6 to 9 hours of carving pumpkins.
That's insane.
It's very insane.
Have you had a beer out of a pumpkin?
Today yet? No.
Not yet. Maybe after the shoot we go in there and make that happen.
Definitely.
In fact, definitely. Terry and I are going to drink out of a pumpkin. But what does it do? Does it do anything to the flavor of the beer?
It doesn't change the flavor of the beer. The funnest thing is the pumpkins are carved and they're all refrigerated.
Right.
And I've already had customers said, wow, the beer's so cold.
Right.
Even though the beer lines are refrigerated, it's different. And the biggest thing is not to spill it down your front. So.
And there's something too you're going to see. It's very primal. It's like you're on a desert island drinking out of a coconut or something. You got to use both hands to drink your beer, which I don't think there's enough of, Terry. I don't think there's enough two-handed beer drinking in this town or any other.
There's about 180 brands in there, Dave. We'll make sure you get a beer.
See, that's what I want. That's what I wanted to hear.
The biggest thing I'm impressed about, not one person's asked me for a straw.
Not yet.
This year, first time ever.
No one has asked for a straw. Well, then I guess we're ahead of the
impressed.
game. What can we look forward to in the future here at Ribco?
Oh, keeping up with the bands. We have shows sold out the next 3 months coming up. Lots of music, as always. We're always constantly rotating beers in and out like crazy. There'll be 7 new beers on tomorrow. And there'll probably be another 8 or 10 brought out of the back room and rotated in and out of the cooler cans and bottles. So we always have a waiting list of beers. And most of the beers you can find, which most of the bars in the Quad Cities use, is beermenus.com. That's the best way to keep up with what's moving in and out quickly.
And I know a lot of the bands that have played here over the years, they love playing Ribco because it's a great room, it's a great energy, it's a great crowd, but also the beer selection after the show.
Oh, yeah.
Just about every band I've ever dealt with raves about the beer selection here. So if it's good enough for musicians, you know it's good enough for you. Terry, thanks for the time.
Dave.
And
Thank
yeah,
you.
let's
Cheers.
go drink out of some
Let's do
pumpkins.
this.
Love it.
Coming up on Brewed, 2 fresh autumn brews and a whole new chapter from an old Quad City favorite.